Hello sports fans, welcome back to the Bailiwick Sport Podcast. I'm your host, Elliot Corbel, and today we bring you a fascinating interview with the Glasgow Warrior himself, Mr. Nick Campbell. The Scotsman turned Islander boasts a stellar sporting career spanning over a decade where he reached the elite level in not just one but two sports through professional rugby and boxing. And I got the pleasure of sitting down with Nick at the Strive Academy to discuss his career and his current movements, which involve trying his hand at passing on his vast wealth of elite sporting knowledge to the next generation through his incredible coaching work. So without further ado, sit back, relax, here's the Glasgow Warrior. Right, Nick, thank you so much for joining us. We're here at the incredible Strive Academy. Tell us a little bit about your early days in sport.
Yeah, so my early days in sport kind of started in a place like this. I was, obviously, as everybody knows, a rugby player before I was a boxer. And I got in at the Institute of Sport in the west of Scotland. And it was at a similar facility to this. And I would go there a couple of times a week, do my strength and conditioning. I was part of the centralised academy in Scotland. Progressed through that, got my, worked my way up, but it's kind of full circle because I'm back helping kids who are maybe at the same stages I was at when I first came into the academy, so I can see a lot of myself in them when I'm coming in and helping them coach and helping them train and helping them improve. So it's all kind of come full circle now. I'm back in a facility in a place, a world-class facility, maybe a little bit better than the one in Scotland, but I'm back in a similar place to where it all kind of got serious and began for me in the sporting sense.
You mentioned here, obviously, living in Jersey now, moved over and joined the Jersey Reds as a pro rugby player. What was that decision like?
Yeah, listen, it was nerve-wracking at the time. I'd obviously been a Glasgow boy all my life and was really proud to play for my city. And just the opportunities weren't quite, as abundant as I would have liked. And I decided to come to Jersey, play every week, and try and kick my career on and be the best rugby player that I possibly could. So, yeah, it was a bit of a roller coaster journey that first season. We just barely survived relegation, and then managed to consolidate and then really build. And then a couple of years, obviously, after I left, we won the championship. But it was a real journey and an island that I've come to really love now. So it was eye-opening, first time away from home really, and it was a great experience, great time of my life.
And of course we go from rugby to boxing. How does that transition come?
Yeah, so I've always been a boxing fan. I feel that everybody knows, well, anybody that knows me knows this story. My grandfather was a professional fighter, so I've always been interested in boxing, always had a passion for it, and I decided that I wanted to try and become a professional boxer or a boxer just to see where I could get to. I had 8 years at that time as a professional rugby player. Don't want to say I'd fell out of love with the sport, but it's all I had known from a young age. So I decided to give myself the best opportunity if I was ever going to do it. Stopped playing rugby at 27, fully commit myself to rugby, and just dived in head first.
So had you been boxing sort of throughout your life up until that point?
Yeah, I always done a little bit of extra training, and during that kind of period where I was coming at the end of my contract, I was training a lot with Alan and Ben Murray up at Boxing Business. So I kind of had said to them, what do you think? And they had just kind of said, go for it. If you want to go for it and see where you can get to, you look like you've got all the fundamentals to maybe do something. So that was the thinking behind it, and that's where I went with it really. So it was just that, I suppose as a lot of people go, it's a kind of crazy decision when you've been a professional rugby player all that time and then decide to be a professional boxer. So just go with the flow, man. You only live once, you don't want to have any regrets.
It's not unheard of though, is it? Obviously All Blacks legend Sonny Bill Williams is known for being an exceptional boxer as well. Yeah. So it's not an uncharacteristic sort of change, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually sparred Sonny. So he's a big, strong, physical man, but didn't mind sparring him. I wouldn't have fancied playing rugby against him that way. But,
speaking of sparring partners, you've had some pretty impressive ones. So drop some names on us.
So I've sparred Tyson Fury, Daniel Dubois, Elliot Corbel, Joseph Parker, Martin Bacoli. That's probably 5 of your top 6 in the past however many years. So
how do those opportunities come about?
Just, obviously I was professional at the time. I was fighting, I've been on TV and stuff like that. My manager, Mark Dunlop, would constantly put my name out there to try and get me into these camps and these opportunities. And it was actually through sparring Sonny Bill that I ended up sparring with Joe. So Andy Lee, who then became my coach as well, which is, anyway, Andy Lee ended up coaching me in the end, but I sparred Sonny Bill, and then Joe was preparing for his fight with Joe Joyce, and Andy contacted me and says, would you come in for sparring? And then off the back of that, I've been sparring with Tyson. Off the back of that, Caballel. I had known Martin McCauley for a long time before that as well. Daniel Dubois came about because they were looking for somebody to replicate Philip Hergovich's style. And it was Kieran Farrell who knew who I was and contacted me and asked me to come in. So the boxing world's a very small world. Everybody knows everybody. And if you're trying hard and you're training well and keeping fit and strong, you always get these kind of opportunities. So
a lot of people will train their whole lives to be elite or to be at the elite level in one sport, let alone two. How would you compare elite levels of rugby and boxing?
Yeah, very similar in a lot of aspects. I think any elite level sport, there's always fundamental things that transfer across. You know, your dedication obviously is the first thing. The sacrifices you need to make outside of the sport, like you can't be going out partying every week, like all that goes across the board. But yeah, I think they're two different sports. Boxing is the kind of wild west. Rugby's a little bit more regulated, but both great sports. Both have a love for both still. Do you know what I mean? So don't want to pick. I don't want to be biased. I maybe favour boxing, to be honest with you, a little bit. But both great sports in their own right, and at the top end, fantastic sports to watch.
You mentioned all those sacrifices. Would you say the Scottish heavyweight title was the highlight of the career?
Yeah, like definitely. That was probably my best night. Yeah, like I was fighting in front of 15,000 people in Glasgow. Had brought a load of people over from Jersey. Had a load of people from Glasgow. I think I'd sold 120 tickets for that night. So it was a good night. It was a really good night, and obviously on a real big controversial card, the Taylor Catterall card, the first time round. So that was a special night. Anytime I'm at home and I'm passing by the Hydro, you always think back to that night and what happened and who was there, and you remember wee things that maybe, because I'm not around Glasgow all the time, it maybe brings back some memories about something that happened or somebody you've seen or a conversation you had after the fight or before the fight. So
that must be really special for your family as well, with your granddad being a boxer, to have that sort of title in the family name.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, the last time the Scottish heavyweight title was competed for, my grandfather would have still been boxing. He wasn't a heavyweight, believe it or not. He was a cruiserweight or a light heavyweight. So it was 71 years ago. It was 1951, and it was weird because the guy who had held the title, his granddaughter had contacted me to say, you're fighting for my granddad's title, kind of thing. He had been the heavyweight champion for 71 years. So that was quite cool. Do you know what I mean? Getting somebody from the past to the front. And it's good.
And you take all those experiences of elite level sport, now trying your hand at coaching. How have you found that?
Yeah, listen, I've had 15 years really. 8 years as a professional rugby player, 3 years as an amateur boxer, boxing at the highest level amateur for Scotland, and then 5 years professionally, boxing at the highest level again in camps with some of the best fighters on the planet. So if I've not picked up a couple of things from that, I think we're really struggling. I'm not that stupid, do you know what I mean? So I think all the incredible people that I've been around, the incredible coachings that I've had, the things and experiences I've had, really sets me up now to kind of try and pass on some of that knowledge to the kids coming through on the island, especially in this academy. We're really lucky to have the facility that we do, and we've got some amazing athletes on the island, but we maybe don't realise. I coach a group of swimmers, the Sterries as I call them. We know who they are. Young Sam just picked up a silver and a bronze in the pool yesterday and the day before. I'm working quite closely with them, and I'm not a swimmer, but the mindset, the strength and conditioning, trying to help them with the little tiny things. You can maybe relate to some of the things that they're going through and try and impart your wisdom on them, and I get a real kick out of that. So I'm coaching them. I've got another young guy, Matthew Defan, who's done really well. He's qualified now for the Island Games, and I can't remember what it is. He's going to kill me. He told me what he qualified for, but he's qualified for something else. And then I'm up with some of the rugby teams, the Colts, the under-14s, girls' football team. So it's an experience, you know what I mean? And I've got to try and bring different aspects of my personality to the different teams that you're coaching. You've got to be a little bit wee with some, you've got to be a wee bit harder with the rugby boys especially. And I'm really enjoying it. And then, of course, on top of that as well, I'm offering it to the general public for anybody who wants to come and get fit, strong, healthy. I feel that I've got a little bit of knowledge I can pass on to them.
Elite level of two different sports, we can't argue with that.
Nah,
Nick, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.